Hi, everybody. Welcome into Season 4, Episode 9 of Hell Frozen Over, your source for the latest Sun Devil hockey news and notes. We are streaming live tonight on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app. I'm Tyler Paley, the team's play-by-play broadcaster, and we are live from Mullet Arena tonight. Joining me, our Arizona State head coach, Greg Powers, and my broadcast partner, Alex Coil. Coach, before we get into your team, a lot to discuss in the rearview mirror as well as in the windshield here. I wanted to ask you about the Olympics. How much hockey have you caught in the last week or so?
Quite a bit. I've been really into the women's side. Yeah. Obviously, my daughter Isabel plays, so huge advocate of women's hockey. The U.S. team is the best women's team I've ever seen play.
I mean, they're so fun to watch.
Unbelievable. They play so hard. They're so connected. Easy to cheer for. I love women's hockey, and they're just an absolute juggernaut.
Any other sports that pique your interest this time of year? Are you a curling guy?
You know what? I've tried to get into curling. It just does nothing for me.
Okay. Speed skating?
I don't mind bobsled.
Okay.
Cool. I can watch a little bobsled. I can, but I mean, man, this women's hockey team is good.
They're fun.
It's
when do they play next?
A gold medal game
tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
against Canada.
Give an update on Friday. All right, diving into our usual recap of the series behind us. We'll begin with the St. Cloud State series 2 weeks ago. Both contests in that one really up for grabs in the third period, something I know you like to see in terms of your team competing for a full 3 periods. Game 1 ultimately was decided by a really good effort from the Huskies' top line to break through your defense and score. How do you look at a game like that where you guys had chances, but they make one good play to secure that win? Yeah,
I mean, those 2 games were really a microcosm of the last, month of the season. We played well enough to win. In my opinion, especially Saturday, I thought we were the better team. But you just make one mistake and it ends up in the back of your net, and such a correctable mistakes. Yeah. Just mistakes that our young guys just keep making that we got to get out of their system, But it was a winnable series. It was a very winnable Saturday night game, and it stung. It stung our guys because they knew it. They knew they played pretty good hockey on Friday, and I thought they played really good hockey on Saturday, and we just didn't come away with the result we thought we deserved.
Yeah, Saturday was one that you've probably managed the game as well as you have all year, and then the play that Sam makes in the final 45 seconds of that. An aggressive play. He's an aggressive goaltender. How do you, as a coaching staff, go through and coach a guy through those mistakes while not coaching out the aggression of what makes him good?
Yeah, we went through it with Joey DeCord. We haven't had a goalie that plays the puck like Herb since Joey.
Sure.
He's world-class at it. He's that good at it, and we're not going to take that away from him. He made the right play, and Their guy made a hell of a play to knock it down, and then the guy behind him got it. I was more upset with the block shots on the power play and the power play's inability to execute to win us a game. And I put it on them, not our goalie. And the back check sucked too. So I put it on those 5 guys. I don't put it on Herbs. And they own it. We've struggled to score that big power play goal all year. We had 2 power plays to go up on Penn State to win the game to start the season. We've had so many. There's 8 occasions where we've had a power play to win a game that was tied in the third period where we didn't score, maybe even gave up a shorthanded goal, and we ended up losing the game all 8 times. So it just hasn't had that clutch factor for us this year that it did last year. And last year, whether it's at home against North Dakota, late in the third, scoring on a power play to win it, Denver to tie it, you name it. St. Cloud, three goals on a 5-minute major to win it in the third. It just delivered for us all year, and this year, for whatever reason, it hasn't yielded the results that we needed to.
Just feels like that play, 99 times out of 100, that play doesn't happen.
I think I've seen 11 games, 11 losses where we've been tied or down a goal with less than 10 minutes left in the game. So it's what we're going through right now. It sucks. We're all frustrated. I know our fans are frustrated. They got to stick with us. Hopefully they do. It will pay off. It will.
One good thing that really emerged from that series, at least in my mind, was Noah Powell being put on full display. Certainly his most productive offensive weekend of the year. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that he spent a lot of time not only on the ice but watching video leading up to that series. What's been the key to his success recently?
Just moving his feet. Powell's such a good player. He was a huge prospect coming out of the USHL. I think he had 43 goals his last year in the USHL in Dubuque. He can score, but in the college level, it's such a fast game, and when he's moving his feet and he's committed to consistently working, he's really good. He's really good. He's like a freight train. But when he doesn't move his feet, it's the great equalizer, right? So he's a young player. He's figuring out that's got to be something he does every shift, and when he does, he'll be a force every night.
What kind of role do you see him playing for years to come?
I think it's a role that has no ceiling, because we know he can score. There's not many kids bigger and stronger than him. He loves to hit. He loves to finish checks. But he's only effective when he moves his feet.
Yeah.
When he's willing to be an F1 and he's willing to get on the forecheck and he's willing to create space for whoever he's playing with and go to the net and use his ability to put a puck in the back of the net, it all predicates off of him moving his feet. So if we can consistently get him to skate and move his feet, there's no ceiling to what he can accomplish.
After St. Cloud State, it was off to Kalamazoo for a meeting with the defending national champion Western Michigan Broncos. One of those don't blink or you'll miss it type first periods in Game 1. Western scored 3 times in a 9-minute span. But then Kyle Smolin scored twice in a row to make it a game. However, the Broncos ultimately proved to be too much. How do you evaluate kind of a roller coaster game like that?
Yeah, it was – we were down 3-0. We gave up some chances. We actually had more grade A's in that first period than they did.
Yeah.
And Slukinski was tremendous. He made 4 unbelievable saves. We felt like going in, it should have been 3-3, and it probably should have been. But what I was really proud of was our young group not wiltering, and they came back 3-2, tons of chances to tie it up. He was really good, made a lot of good saves in the second too, and then they kind of got a cheapie on us late in the second to put it to 4-2, and even the third, I thought we got the better of the chances. We played more down in their end than they did in ours, and then they got an empty net, and then that cheapie at the very end that they disallowed on the ice and then they allowed. So
just seems like one of those years with all the calls.
Yeah, well, we enjoyed all of the replays. That was really fun. Anyway, the second game, you guys needed to start a lot faster compared to the night before, at least on the score sheet. You get through the first period tied, and then it becomes a power play fest on both sides. It felt like the game was decided 5-on-4 one way or the other, even 5-on-3 briefly. To fight through all of that on the road, how much, again, we've discussed it a lot, going to the box consistently harmed the progress that you did make in the first period?
We exhaustively talk about it with our guys. It's the stick penalties and it's not an egregious, undisciplined type stuff, but you cannot get sticks parallel and make body contact or contact with hands, or it's going to get called. So, you're tied 2-2, and tons of chances to go up 3-2.
Yeah.
Their guy stood on his head, and then we take a penalty, and really from that point on, they put us down 3-2, and then we take a 5-minute major, and you can question officials, you can question whether it should have been or not, but it was a penalty, and our guys have to stay out of the box, especially on the road, and so, you take one, you're down 3-2, and then you take another one, and they score 3 goals in a 5-minute major, and it's game over.
Yeah. Game was
in a game that was pretty evenly played up to that point.
Right. And that's why
it was evenly played.
100%. We kept saying these final scores are not indicative of how these games went, which is the frustrating part.
They weren't at all.
To an outsider, it's like, well, they got blown out. Well, not really, right? It was like this small segment of the game.
Yeah.
I recall back to the North Dakota series when you said, and I asked you about this last show, you said the Fighting Hawks made your team better. And I wonder if you'd say a similar thing about Western Michigan.
Yeah, I think both of them are the best teams we played all year, for different reasons. I think just North Dakota's decor, Western Michigan's goalie, and the way that their forwards play, just the way Firsch has them play. They're so direct. They're north. deliberate in everything that they do, relentless. They're just a fun team to watch. So, I mean, when you play a team like that, it forces you to be better and exposes a lot of things with a young team, and we'll be better for playing them.
The goaltending that you guys have played in this back half has been pretty unbelievable as well. I mean, it feels like the conference really stepped up. It had really good goaltenders last year, but the performances that we've seen of late have been really impressive too.
Yeah, they've been good. We've generated a lot of great A's against Lukinski this weekend, and just couldn't really solve them. Whether it's breakaways, whether it's backdoors. I mean, he had some unbelievable saves. So, I mean, we ran into some hot goaltending, and it doesn't get any easier this weekend with Latkozy or Simon. How do you say his last name?
Latkozy. Yeah,
he's as good as he gets. So.
I know you had already been to Lawson back your first full year as a D1 program, but now that you've been to every NCHC opponent's rink while a member of the conference, which one would you say is the toughest one to play in, and which one do you enjoy the most?
Well, I think Lawson is the toughest because it's so unique. It's got Oceanside vibes.
Yeah,
right? Like it's Oceanside on steroids. It's a much nicer version of Oceanside, but the students are right on top of you. The fans are on top of you. It's claustrophobic. They're built to make you feel claustrophobic with how they forecheck and how they close time and space and just how hard they play. I mean, it's definitely the toughest environment. Luckily, that's the last time we'll ever have to go there.
Yeah, because we don't go there next year.
We won't go there next year. They'll come here, and then they'll be in their new building.
Yeah, new building for 27, 28. Yeah. And which one would you say you enjoy the most? Not road trip, just the rink.
Yeah, just the rink. Probably Magnus. I mean, I think Magnus just has a feel to it that's really cool and unique, and it's such a unique place to play with four sides of the rink that are all different and steep and on top of you, and it's a really cool arena.
Yeah, can't wait to get back there in a couple weeks. What's your evaluation on both of your goaltenders at this stage in the season, and what are you hoping to see from one or perhaps both of them this weekend?
I mean, my heart goes out to both of them because it's been a long month for the team, and with what we've had out and trying to kind of reestablish our identity with a really young group in front of them. I still believe in both of them. I thought, obviously, we wanted a better start out of him on Friday, but, man, he locked it down. Yep. He locked it down after that and gave us a chance to come back, and we did come back. Herbs obviously didn't have the game that we wanted. I think he let in, 6 on 31?
Yep.
And the last one was a pretty bad one. So he wasn't himself, but the future that kid has, I mean, if you look at his freshman year compared to like a Joey DeCords, Herbs, you could say, has been better. Yeah. It is hard for freshmen to come in and play in front of a team full of freshmen or behind a team full of freshmen in front of them. We're all going to be better for what we've gone through, and we got to stay the course and understand what is in front of us and what we have coming in, which is even more exciting. We have 3 of the top 10 scorers in the Western Hockey League coming in here next year. One of them is a D. 2 of the top 10 scorers in the USHL. And then that's not even touching on what we might do in the portal. So the future is bright despite the present being frustrating.
Fair. With how young the group is, we know there's a fantastic leadership group. But is there somebody from that young core, one of the freshmen, that has stepped up to help steer the ship and keep things positive over this month's stretch?
They've all done such a good job. You look at what Alfie's done over the last month and a half, just playing hard. But Mello and Kev have been unbelievable. You're seeing now. I thought Kev was our best player this weekend at Western Michigan. He was just flying up and down the ice, and when you play a good 200-foot game, he had a back check in the first period on Saturday that was unbelievable, and he literally saved a goal. And then on that same shift was when he scored his goal. Mm-hmm. And that's how hockey works. It's an honest game. You get out what you put in, and you cannot cheat this game. And I think he's such a young kid. He's a true freshman. He's a high-end talent. He's a high draft pick, obviously. He's starting to figure it out. What he puts in, he's going to get out of it. And that shift is a prime example of that.
How optimistic are you for guys, not only like Ben Kevan, who's actually our guest tonight, who's coming up, but for Melo, and to kind of use them as the new nucleus of this team in years to come? I know you guys are still very much focused.
I don't think anybody that can watch that has seen Melo or Kev play the last 2 weeks can't be excited about them.
Right.
You know, like they're that talented, and when they play with energy and they play with passion, and they're playing 200 feet and they're working and they're winning battles and their habits are good. There's no stopping them. Like they're too talented. So they're two young kids that have taken a while to figure it out, but that's what this is all about. That's what development is. That's what patience is. They both have been up and down the lineup. They both have been scratched. They both have been through it, and now they're huge pieces of this program, you know, and they're going to be even bigger pieces moving forward.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to. All right, Sun Devil Hockey's last home series this weekend is against Omaha. We'll preview that and their final series of the regular season coming up in the third period. Up next, Sun Devil freshman forward Ben Kevan joins the show. Our conversation right after this on the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. Thanks for sticking with us for the second period of Hell Frozen Over, our hour-long show talking all things Sun Devil hockey. We are live from the ASU locker room here at Mullet Arena. And don't forget our final show of the season, Tuesday, March 3rd, 6 p.m. We certainly hope you can tune in then. Arizona State is still very much focused on what it can do this season. And make no mistake, there's still plenty on the line. But they're also excited for the future, which is reinforced by several newcomers this year who have broken out in recent weeks, highlighted by freshman forward Ben Kevan. And Ben joins us live on Hell Frozen Over now. Thanks so much for being here, and good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
So I want to start big picture with you. First time you're on the show. So how much are you enjoying your time as a Sun Devil throughout this roller coaster of a season?
I loved it so far. Just the team and the support group around the team has just been really opening and welcomed me with open arms, and the rest of the freshmen. So that's the biggest thing. Just, you know, I felt welcome right away, and I think that just helped us so much get acclimated quickly and kind of get into the group quickly. So I've loved it so far.
It's felt like the group really meshed together super well, especially, I mean, majority, you know, freshmen and sophomores. Yep. So It's been good to see. What originally made you commit to ASU?
Well, I committed here when I was young. Pretty much right when the commitment window opened, I toured here. I think maybe August 9th I toured, wow. And then like 2 weeks later I committed. Just loved my time here. I thought it was, you know, the nicest campus I've ever seen, and you know, getting to meet with the staff and just having more and more conversations with them. I knew they were really keen on my development, and they really wanted me to be a piece of something bigger, which is hopefully winning a national championship here. So, and I was really excited to hear that, and just, you know, being a part of the first team to do something that special would be a really big moment for me and for this program.
Yeah, they're not just the people at the collegiate level trusted in your development. It's also the New Jersey Devils who took you in the second round. What were the emotions of that dream coming true for you when they took you?
Yeah, it was really special. I mean, to be quite honest, I don't remember most of it. I kind of like it was just a wave of emotions that took over me, and I was just like I was just like, wow, can't believe it finally happened. And just for the moment, it was not just for me, but for my family and for everyone who's been a part of my journey so far. Just for them to also be able to see that, you know, their process into me wasn't gone to waste, and that, you know, I'm actually being able to do something with my career is really good, not just for me, but for them too. So it was really special.
How much does that stay with you? And I guess what I mean by that is, okay, you now have the NHL New Jersey Devils logo next to your name in every game you suit up for. There has to be some level of confidence that brings, but also you're here now, right? You're in Tempe, locked in on what you're doing for your current team. How do you kind of balance those where you have this confidence, this power, if you will, but at the same time you're locked in on the mission right in front of you right now?
Yeah, it's of course cool to have a logo next to your name, but like, if I'm being honest, you know, all I really want to do here is win, and winning will get you a contract, and winning teams usually have more guys signed than not. So my biggest thing right now is just becoming more of a winning player and playing more of a winning game, and hopefully helping my team win games. And then as I go forward, you know, hopefully sign after however many years I'm here, and then go from there.
4+ please. I'm just kidding. Whatever works for you. You were thrown right in to the starting lineup from the get-go on a team comprised of mostly freshmen and sophomores. I trust that it was an adjustment for you at first, but as you approach the end of the season now, how much did that help to get that experience in these games right from the jump?
Yeah, especially the first weekend that we had against Penn State. Like I said, earlier in the year, that was probably the biggest game that has ever been played in college hockey with the rule that happened over the summer and, of course, the player that was on their team and Gavin McKenna. It was just, it was really getting thrown into the fire.
I'd say so.
And it was a big jump for me, and it was a really nice experience, and, I'm taking experiences from that in every game.
And it didn't take long for you to score your first collegiate goal, just the following weekend. It came against Notre Dame, second weekend of the season. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it was surreal. I've dreamt of that moment since I committed back when I was 15, and just to finally have it happen, especially in front of the home crowd, was really special. So
yeah,
it meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
One of the guys, exactly. One of the guys that in that freshman core with you that you've gotten to play with a lot, and I know you're really close to, is Carmelo Crandall.
Yeah.
You two have been unbelievable over the last 4 games and in the back half of this season. What is your relationship like, and how have you helped each other get through the freshman season?
Yeah, I think just right from the jump, I played against him a lot in Tri-City, so I already was quite. I knew his game quite well already, but once I met him and just hung out with him more and more, it was pretty obvious that me and him are a lot alike in some good ways, some not. With, we do a lot of dumb stuff together, but we also hang out literally every day. Like, awesome. We do everything together. We play video games together. We go get food together. We scooter back and from the rink. Like, everything we do is together, and it's just really nice to kind of build that trust with them off the ice, and it correlates on the ice really well.
What's the game of choice?
Fortnite right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Smart answer.
Maybe
That's
he's
good.
outside. Should we pull up a chair? I don't know. Maybe it came with you to this. Like, we can pull up a chair.
Got a big
and get
screen
him
to play on.
Seriously. You, just as an individual, have kind of really exploded lately. Some multi-point games, some big goals, even bigger assists. I think of the one against St. Cloud that you combined with Mello and Smolin ultimately scored.
Yeah.
That was just really beautiful. I know Alex and I always have our eyes wide open when you hit the ice, especially recently.
Yeah.
What's changed for you in the last, let's say, month or so that's really allowed you to kind of take over?
I think just for me, getting my confidence back at the start of the year. Of course, I had a rough stretch of just games right enough points, and games where, I was minus, and I think there was a stretch where I was minus in almost every game that I played for about a month stretch. So, I was really down on myself, but just sticking with my process and kind of sticking with what worked for me in the past, and just knowing that, I'm here for a reason. I'm playing college hockey as an 18 for a reason. It's just those things to kind of look at it in a more broad view and kind of not be so harsh on myself. And I think that really helped me just play to my full ability, and also just continue to grow as a player.
Yeah, just a weight off your shoulders,
yeah.
I'm sure. Alex asked you about Carmelo Crandall. What about Kyle Smolin? You guys have recently been on the line together, and I'd imagine that's been incredibly helpful as well.
Yeah, it definitely is. Kind of having more of a rock in the middle is good for me and Mello, especially with the way we play. We can be kind of rogue sometimes. But not just on the ice, like off the ice. Smoley is one of the best people I've ever met, like one of the most genuine, nice human beings ever. And me and Mello, before our weekend against St. Cloud, he brought us over for dinner, and we had a really good talk, and we kind of just had a heart-to-heart with each other, and we knew that, it's getting to that point of the season where we have to start carrying more of our weight, and that was just the main talk we had. And then it's been really nice for us, kind of refreshing to kind of have him back with us and kind of help him pull the ship a little bit.
Yeah, he's great.
How much does that mean to have a veteran, a guy wearing the C, bring 2 freshmen in under his wing and take as much care as he has with you guys?
Yeah, but it's been really nice, and it's just a really big help. And it hasn't just been him. Like all the seniors, all the older guys have taken us under their wing with Shim, Cruz, especially the forwards for us, other freshman forwards. They've been really good at acclimating us and kind of making sure we feel included with everything. It's been really fun.
I know you guys are still very much locked in on this season, right? Yeah. There is still a whole lot on the table. You guys got 4 games left. A chance, in theory, with a sweep this weekend to clinch a playoff berth, and then it's, you still got Denver to take care of, but then it's on to the NCHC quarterfinals where it's a fresh slate, right? With that said, when you look around at the other guys on this team in this locker room every day, how optimistic are you for next year and beyond?
Yeah, I think if you just look around our locker room, we have some really good hockey players and a lot of players who we all know who have a lot more in the tank. And you've seen it in the years prior that, college hockey is a hard jump, and everyone knows that. But with what guys have been able to do in the past, is you can be very optimistic with what they can bring to our team in the future. So, of course, we still want to win this year, and of course, we want to bring that optimism that we have for them next year into the rest of this season. But just being able to see what most guys have been able to do in the past is really optimistic.
Yeah, like both things can be true.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, how important do you think this next 4-game stretch is, and what do you guys need to really do to take care of business?
I think we just need to stick with our game. I think we're a really good team when we're playing at our best, and we just need to have our best for 240 minutes, and just have that mentality.
It's faster than I could have done.
Yeah, have the mentality for the rest of the year, and then of course bringing in the NCHC playoffs whoever we play.
Yeah, and then it's a fresh slate. Forget about seeding. Forget about where.
Yeah.
All you got to do is get in, and then we've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah.
Omaha is your opponent this weekend. Obviously, both teams need some points here. From an individual perspective, what do you need to do this weekend to secure a couple wins?
Just need to keep playing how I'm playing. I feel like I've been playing some pretty good hockey, but my best is still yet to come, and I hope to showcase that this weekend and the weekend after that. So I think just for myself, just continue to play the way I played, play confident, play in control, and just play my way.
Well, what is the biggest thing that has clicked for you in the last month, 2 months, that has led to the way you've played?
I think just, finally getting a few on the stat sheet and just having that confidence knowing that, finally I'm able to, put some points up, and now everything's starting to click, not just point-wise, but, defensively, just not last weekend I wasn't on the ice for a goal, so being able to kind of finally round out that part of my game is another big confidence booster, because that was a big thing coming into the season. Need to work on that a lot.
And as Coach Powers mentioned in the first segment, a defensive play led
check,
to a goal for you last week.
Yeah, right. So it's all tied together. Last one before we have to hit a break here, and I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but after Omaha is Denver to wrap up the regular season. If you hadn't heard, it's Coach Powers' favorite rink in the NCHC aside from Mullet Arena. Which road trip has been your favorite so far? I know you haven't gotten to all of them yet, but we should check all the boxes by next year.
I think rink atmosphere-wise, of course, not the way that the weekend transpired, but I thought Western was really fun.
It was fun. It was cool
that, standing at the blue line before that Friday game, you look around and it's wow, they're these people are insane for their team, and it was really fun to be a part of. And other than that, I actually really liked Augustana.
Okay,
me too. Augustana was a really nice rink. They had a good
ever
fan
college
base.
Hockey road trip for you too.
Good fan base, and I thought it was just really fun to play there. Of course, that weekend was also not as what we wanted, but I thought it was a fun place to play in.
Yeah, fun. Well, appreciate you spending some time with us. Always a pleasure. I know this team's in good hands because of guys like you and Mello and so on and so forth. So you're providing a lot of optimism for the future. So appreciate you spending some time with us, and we'll chat with you on Friday.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
Ben Kevan. So when we return to Health Frozen Over on this Tuesday, Coach Powers rejoins the show to give us his scouting report on Omaha and much more. Stick with us here on the Sun Devil Radio Network. Back here at Mullet Arena in Tempe for the third period. You're listening to Hell Frozen Over live on the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network from Mullet Arena tonight. Our final show is Tuesday, March 3rd, so we hope you make plans to listen to us live here on Fox Sports 910. Coach, we just wrapped up with Ben Kevan, but I want to ask about your newcomers again writ large. You got Crandall, Alfano, Morrell, Barron, so on and so forth. You were so high on this group when we chatted before the season began. I remember having a phone call with you, and you were like, man, you got to watch for these newcomers. They are the real deal.
Yep.
And no question there have been growing pains, but I wonder how fulfilling it is as a coach to see the fruits of your labor begin to bloom at this stage of the season.
Well, we haven't seen it in results, but we've seen it in some development of some of these young kids that should give everybody a lot of hope, And if you would have told me at the start of the year and you had a gun to my head with the group that we had and how young we were, that we would do what we did the years previous, I would probably say no. But I expected this team to finish in the top half of the league, and it didn't happen, right? It didn't happen. So, but we are going to be better for what we're going through and what we've been through, and we've been through it before. And you can do one thing: you can learn from it and grow from it and get better from it, or you can do the opposite. And we're not going to do the opposite.
Yeah, if you're going to go through the growing pains, you might as well be patient enough to wait for the fruits to be as good as they have been. How difficult has it been to stay to the day-to-day and not get too over the top of, oh my gosh, this has been painful to go through.
It's always hard, right? We live in a world where everybody wants instant results, and we've won a lot of games the last 2 years. We won a lot of games. We've been, I think, 6th or 7th in college hockey in regular season wins the last 2 years combined. So, it's frustrating. I'm not going to lie.
100%.
It's frustrating, and I know our fans are frustrated. And it's going to pay off. You just have to stay the course. But we're really excited about the future for so many different reasons. But like you said, I think to Ben, we're focused on Omaha, and there's still a ton to play for, and you just got to get in. Got to get into these playoffs, and then anything can happen. And we've beaten everybody in the league except for Western Michigan. So our guys, you get a clean slate once you're in, and we're looking to get in this weekend.
Well, and while there might not be home ice playoffs in the playoff portion, this is a playoff series for the crowd to come out and support.
Yep. Our goal was to host a playoff series this year. And
right.
we fell short technically, but this is a playoff
Massive.
series.
Yeah.
This is a playoff series for us, and so we're going to treat it like that. We've been talking about that, ever since we got back. And the guys know what's at stake, and I think you're going to get really good efforts out of both teams because both teams are fighting for their seasons.
Yeah, literally. Time for our weekly injury update. Braxton Whitehead has been out for a few weeks. Do you have any update on him, and is there anyone else that may
He's gonna try and skate this week. He didn't skate today, but it's going to be probably a decision that's made Friday, so TBD on him. And luckily everybody else is good to go.
That's great.
That we have available.
Let's.
Hey, I will say this: we didn't address it publicly, but I think it's only fair to the kid to do it. Ty Nash has been playing on one leg for 3 weeks.
Really?
Wow.
So that's why he was moved down. That's why he was taken off a PK and power play. But he wanted to be on the bench. We had no other bodies to dress.
Sure.
And he wanted to be on the bench and give us what he could.
Wow.
He was a little bit back this weekend at Western, but now we think he's going to be 100% back and in full go on Friday, which is going to be huge for us.
Yep.
It gives us more depth.
That is huge.
But we've tactically been playing with 10 healthy forwards. Tucker's the swing guy, but so having Nasher back to full speed is going to be a huge help.
I know you probably can't go too deep into it, but how have the guys that have had surgery, how are they progressing towards getting ready for next year?
Potsy and Beck are here every day, and they're supporting the guys. You can tell how frustrated they are that they're sitting out, and they just want to help because they know how much they could help. You lose your two best drivers. They're drivers. That's what they are. They drive the play, and they were, the team wasn't designed to not have both. But I'll save the good news for a later day. But we're incredibly optimistic that you haven't seen the last of either one of them.
That's a tease if I've ever. Let's just end the segment there. If I didn't have other questions, we would. Wow. Just got me fired up. All right, let's jump into the road ahead. We kind of already touched on it, but just 4 games left in the regular season. Turns out the next 2 have really become the most important of the season. 8th place ASU against 9th place Omaha in a fight for an NCHC playoff berth. If you sweep Omaha, you're in, period, end of discussion. Anything less, and that will be decided in the final weekend of the season. It's not a competition for the Penrose Cup, but I trust you and the guys still see this as just a massive opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to get 3 points Friday. We want to get this done in regulation and then have a game Saturday for all the marbles to get in and breathe easy and then play for seeding, because there's still teams we can catch, with 2 good weekends. So, we're not focused on just getting in. We're focused on getting in and putting ourselves in the best position to have success once you're in.
What can we expect from the Mavericks outside of fantastic goaltending?
A big, stout team. I thought that they played Denver really well. It didn't reflect the scoreboard, but they're 2 pretty evenly played games. And then, like we talked about, their goalie's as good as it gets. So he can steal games, and you got to get in his eyes, just like you do pretty much every goal in this league. If you let him see the puck, you're going to have a long night.
And he stole one up at Western 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
he did. He stole that game.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
I'm curious, and you can just say flat out no if this is the answer, but last season series in Omaha to end the regular season. Obviously stung a little bit just because of, some of the calls and the way they went down, perhaps led to one factor in you guys just barely missing the NCAA tournament. Curious if you look at it as revenge or anything of the sort.
No, I mean, Omaha's got to play. I mean, they were fighting for home ice, right? So we got their very best effort. And they were a hell of a team last year. They finished fourth in this league, which is no joke, right? So we beat them Friday, and then we were up 2-1 going to the third on Saturday, and we just couldn't quite get it done. We actually scored to tie it.
Yep.
Still feel like it should have counted. It counted on the ice, but not after the review.
Never
it's kind of been going our way that way. Yeah. But yeah, so they're a great program. They're a program I have a ton of admiration and respect for. They really supported us in the early days and played us and came to Oceanside and played us. The guy that started the program, Mike Kemp, and coached there for over a decade. Then he became an associate AD and ran the program. Has just been so good to our program. So they're a program that we really respect.
After Omaha, we hit the road one final time to Denver to wrap up the regular season. We just outlined how that series may have playoff implications, not only for ASU, but also for Denver seeding as well. Magnus Arena is a place you guys have found some success in recent years. How excited are you to end the regular season there against another one of the best teams in the country?
Yeah, I mean, it gets easier for us. So that's this league, man.
Yep.
Like, it's what you sign up for, and it's what makes this league the best league in college hockey. There's no weekends off, and no better reason to go up to. Hopefully, we can get through this weekend and clinch, and then go up and kind of play with house money, play loose, play free, play hard, play for seeding, and hey, you go get a win, maybe 2 at Denver like we did last year. Confidence sky high, and we're willing to take on the world. So it's a huge opportunity.
We had Artie on the second intermission of Saturday's game.
Yep.
And he was telling us about a story that he was telling you about his last week, and I guess last stretch at Northern Michigan, where they were 7th in an 8-team league, and everything was going bad. They had a tough film session, and the group got together and said, might as well go. They win the next 5 in their season, get to an overtime in
the championship.
In the championship. How much are you leaning on some of that stuff of the stories of what could possibly still happen?
Yeah, there's so many examples of that, right? And he's just a prime example of it. And I've had a lot of alumni talk to the guys lately. Him and Jack Becker, came to the game Saturday night. Artie was here during the American League break. He and I went to dinner and had a great time, and but it was great to see Bex and Artie there just to talk to the guys, and look, people believe in what we're doing. They believe in the program. Guys that have come here and won and had great experiences. It's always great to draw on those and educate this young group that there's still so much to play for and so much that we can accomplish.
I got 2 more for you. First is, and I asked you a similar question at this time last year. As this season winds down, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from this team?
There's a lot. There's a lot. There's so many lessons. I mean, to just peg one, but I think if there's one thing I want this group to take away from this season is if you don't defend, you're screwed. And we got a lot of really good, talented kids that want to get up and down the ice, and if you don't keep the puck out of your net, you're not going to win. And that's a microcosm. That's exactly what's happened over this last month. You can point to a few different reasons, but defensively we just haven't been good enough. So that's got to change starting this weekend, and we'll give ourselves a chance to finish strong.
Last one before we head to break. If you had to give one message to Sun Devil Nation ahead of this crucial home series this weekend, what would it be?
Come out, support these kids. They're fighting their asses off for you. It's been a long season. It's been hard. You guys don't always get all the information that you can be privy to, but they are fighting hard to make you proud. And if you want to chew somebody's ass and get after somebody, do it to me. Don't do it to them. Get out and support them.
Coach Greg Powers with the latest here on Hell Frozen Over. His Sun Devils hit the ice Friday and Saturday at home against Omaha, and you will hear from him on our pregame coverage beginning at 6:30 on Friday. I appreciate you as always, sir, and we will talk to you on
Thanks,
Friday.
fellas.
Thanks, Coach.
3 periods down, much more to come in overtime. When we return, Alex and I will break down Arizona State's path forward. Stick with us. Hell Frozen Over is back in just a moment here on the Sun Devil Radio Network. Back at the mullet for overtime here on Health Frozen Over. Tyler Paley and Alex Coil. Look, you and I have spent a lot of time talking about this. No doubt the last month or so has been really frustrating, but my mind truly keeps going back to the youth on this roster and just how optimistic I am for the future.
Yeah, and again, like I've said, I think in the second post game and earlier in this show, like, if you're going to go through all of the growing pains, you might as well stick around to see the fruits of those growing pains, right? And we're starting to see that a little bit more and more, especially with who we spoke to with Ben Kevan and his line mate Carmelo Crandall. And so those guys are doing really, really good things and continuing to build. And now, when you get those guys to play as many minutes as they have and learn to be 200-foot players, they're not going to have those same mistakes early on when you test yourself in non-conference come next season.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I think if you want to say Alfie has fallen off the last, series, but, remember the Miami through
he tied a freshman record.
He tied a freshman record, like a 6-game point streak, and then he, disappears, quote-unquote. He was still so impactful out there. And it just goes to show, but then it was the next guy up in Ben Kevan, in Carmelo Crandall, even other extended newcomers, right? You look at Logan Morell and Noah Powell, technically sophomores, but new to this team, contributing in such a big way. The list goes on and on. It's just so heartening to me to see that at this stage of the season. Yeah,
because next year those guys will be listed as sophomores with junior level experience in minutes played and everything. So it's exciting.
You go back to the St. Cloud series a couple weeks ago. A lot of positive things emerging, right? The forechecking posture, the good puck management, which is not something we've seen consistently all year, and defense, which Coach Powers has been critical of even just a few minutes ago. But the defense in that one felt like, okay, they really stepped up.
Yeah, I think those were probably the closest they've come all season to the full 60-minute effort that they've we've heard from Coach Powers every single pregame and postgame, because they haven't done it this year. And that was as close as they came. Unfortunately, it was one bad mistake, one penalty that started momentum on a power play for the opponent that caught you. One play when you had a power play to win the game with all the momentum in the world that caught you. Because look, those points would be pretty valuable right now. Instead of needing 6 this weekend, you could need 4 or 3 or whatever. But instead, this is the situation you find yourself in. You got to find a way to put it all together now.
Yeah, make lemonade out of lemons, right? Because there is still, it's not like they are, done and out for the count. Like they very much still are fighting not only for a spot but for positioning.
Yeah.
It may seem like a far-fetched concept, but they are very much still in a position to control their own destiny, which is pretty awesome. Goaltending. Wanted to pick your brain about this because you and I have talked about this a lot. It's been good. They've probably, both Has and Herbs have probably deserved a better fate in most of the last 8 games, let's say. I've been impressed, though, by their resiliency. It hasn't gone their way in the win column, but they simply reset and go get another.
Yeah, and goaltending can be a pretty mentally taxing position too. And I got to give both those guys credit for how positive they've stayed. And it's like when they were going good, they weren't like, oh my gosh, I'm unbelievable. Right. They were like, okay, that happened. Next. I got to do it again. Yep. So credit to them. I think they're an example of how good the goaltending is in the conference. When you look at numbers, save percentages, all of that stuff, they're right on par. The difference, as coaches mentioned, it's been inconsistent 5 in front of them, and a lot of times the goaltender is going to take the extra heat from the fans or from what it just looks like on paper when that might not be the reality.
Right. It's just not congruent with what actually transpired
Big
in
words.
the game. Yeah. Hey, listen, I threw a couple at you this weekend, here and there, try to keep you on your toes.
But jug handle left. I beat you on that one.
Jug handle left. And what was the pun I did? I called Slukinski
workhorse.
Workhorse.
Wow.
Broncos.
Well done.
It's good. All right. A big series coming up against Omaha. Tough crowd in here of just you, me, and a couple of staff members. The series against Omaha is huge, right? This one feels like it's for all the marbles because I guess it technically isn't, but realistically it is. It's their only two games against one another this year, and anything short of a sweep on Arizona State's side leads to a really fun final weekend of the regular season.
But look, and again, there might not be home ice in the NCHC playoffs. this is a playoff series, and this has to have that type of environment, especially on Saturday for Senior Day, where you're going to honor 4 fantastic Sun Devils that have given a lot to the program. So there's a ton at stake. While it might not be the glory of a 1-seed or 2-seed or home ice in the playoffs, there's still a lot of stuff that matters because we've been touching on the youth a lot. Youth getting a taste of what playoff hockey is on the road if they ultimately do get themselves in and get to play a 3-game series at a North Dakota, at a Denver, at a Western. That experience is also going to add on to what they're able to do learning from that into next season.
No question. This is also a crucial series for the fan base. Been a roller coaster of a year at home in particular, and I know, and I know you know this too, that the Maroon and Gold faithful will really show up in droves this weekend to kind of will their team to victory. They know what's on the line. This is a very smart, not only sports community, but hockey community here, and they get what's at stake and how much power they give Arizona State on the ice when they fill the stands.
And it's one that wants to see a winner.
Yeah.
It's always been the case. And so, there have been a lot of really, really good and awesome moments in that building. There have been a number of those this season.
Yes, there have.
Thinking back to the Denver overtime winner and the 2 straight Ohio State as well. This could be a weekend where you get memorable moments like that to be able to solidify something and clinch a postseason spot.
So after this weekend, it's up to Denver, a team that beat Arizona State in overtime at Mullet Arena in last November. That ASU beat in overtime, I should say, in late November. That series will matter a lot to both teams. You, unfortunately, won't be there. You'll be with the Arizona State baseball team.
Yeah, I had to head out to Oklahoma and Texas, so the 5 top 15 matchups there, so that'll be just as exciting. So during this time of season, a lot of unbelievable events with the Maroon and Gold everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of stakes, high stakes as well. Real quick, like 10 seconds, what's your assessment on the position ASU finds itself is in, and what do they need to do this weekend?
Find a way. That has to be the theme. Find a way to get 3 points on Friday, and then if you do that, then you can figure out what to do on Saturday.
That's the goal. The Devils play their final home series of the year this weekend against Omaha, and we hope you can join us. 7 p.m. puck drop Friday, 5 p.m. on Saturday. You can watch both on nchc.tv. Saturday's game also on Fox 10 Extra here locally, or you can listen to all of it here on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeart Radio app. Pre-game coverage begins 30 minutes prior to puck drop. Our thanks tonight to Sun Devil hockey head coach Greg Powers and Ben Kevan for joining us, and a special thanks to producer and engineer Sean Crespin and his team for their help. We'll talk to you Friday, 6:30 ASU in Omaha. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. For Alex Coil, I'm Tyler Paley. Good night.